a boon from 𝗔𝗏𝗓 to have a desire, and his desire in his thought, it was that if I ask him to go in the late afternoon to the Pandavas ashram and to ask for food, the bowl, the 𝗟𝗓𝗩𝗪, will not give any more food because Draupadi have eaten his food. So 𝗔𝗏𝗓 will be very angry and he will destroy the Pandavas. This was the desire that he had. But he didn't know, on the other hand, that the Pandavas were protected by Krishna. So one day 𝗔𝗏𝗓 reached the ashram, and Yudhishthira, the elder of the 5 brothers, bowed to him and washed his feet. He was so happy and honored to receive this great sage, and 𝗔𝗏𝗓, as he promised to Duryodhana, said, "So I go to the river, I take my time, I do some rituals together with my devotees who are 10,000, and then after the rituals I will come to you and we will have some food together." And Yudhishthira runs to Draupadi saying, "Oh my God, Draupadi, 𝗔𝗏𝗓 with 10,000 disciples wants to be fed, so please prepare the bowl." But Draupadi says, "My beloved, the bowl is not going to give food until tomorrow. What can we do?" And the Pandavas were despaired. It was such an adharma not to feed a guest, and it was such a special guest. It was very bad, so they didn't want to be hurt by him, and Draupadi was such in a big despair, but she was also a devotee, a Krishna devotee, so she started to pray, "Krishna, Krishna, help us, help us. We have to feed 10,000 disciples of these great rishis. You please help us." But she was not praying for herself. She was praying for her husbands because she knew that they could have been killed by the rishi. So, and also the Pandavas heard Draupadi praying, and all of them prayed, "Krishna, Krishna, Krishna, help us, help us." And they prayed with all their heart. So Krishna appears. He appears in front of them into his glory and light, smiling at them, but he was a little bit mischievous. "Dear Draupadi, here I am. Oh, beloved Krishna, we have to feed 10,000 people. Please help us." "But where are all these people? I am hungry, not them. So please, first feed me, and then you will think of the others." And Draupadi says, "But how can you ask me food? Please don't joke. You know 𝗔𝗏𝗓, he will destroy the ashram, destroy our lives." And she cries. And so Krishna takes her hands and says, "You women always cry, but think about me. I am hungry. Feed me. Take the bowl." And she knew that the bowl was clean, so there was nothing left. But anyway, she takes the bowl, and Krishna put a finger into the bowl. Draupadi cleaned very well the bowl, but he finds a little leaf, and he eat the leaf as, "Oh, this food is sufficient to feed me and all the human beings." In that very moment, on the river bank, the 10,000 disciples with Ravasa feel their belly overflow, full of food, and they cannot even think about food. And so they say, oh, what can we do? Because the Pandavas are waiting for us. They are preparing a big celebration and a lot of food for us. That would be very bad not to eat, so we have to run away. So they try to run away to avoid this dinner. But Krishna, who knew everything, and he wanted to go on with his joke, so he tells Bhima, one of the five brothers, go to Durvasa and ask them to come. They're going away. Please take all of them here. And Bhima runs after them. He doesn't know why. He says, how can I invite them? We have no food. But if Krishna said to do so, he did. And so he runs after all of those disciples. And Durvasa tells Bhima, we cannot come, we cannot have any food, we have to go. So Bhima goes back to the ashram and the problem was solved, and all of them are happy. And this is one of Krishna's miracles. But the story of the 𝗟𝗓𝗩𝗘 doesn't end here, because thousands of years later, maybe you remember this story, you have already heard it in the Raniket area in the Himalayas. A great yogi is meditating on the mountain, and a new disciple is in front of him with other disciples around, and he has just dematerialized a golden palace. And this new disciple, whose name is 𝗟𝗟𝗩𝗪, opens his eyes and see all the people who are not in the golden palace anymore, but on the earth. Probably he's hungry, so the great yogis, Babaji, shows him a bowl, and in this bowl, all of a sudden, is full of food, and this disciple eats the food, the most delicious food, sweets or salty, but that food never ends. And after a while, when he had enough food, he looks around, he's looking for water, and Babaji again shows the bowls, and the most pure water is into that bowl, and he drinks. And he says, Babaji pronounces these words: few mortals know that the realm of God includes within itself the realm of worldly fulfillments. Babaji observed, the divine realm extends to the earthly realm, but the latter, being illusory, cannot include the essence of reality. The divine realm extends to the earthly realm, but the latter, being illusory, cannot include the essence of reality. Jai Shri Krishna. When we call upon Him with a heart full of love, the divine cannot help but come to our rescue. He manifested physically to the Pandavas, but He can also manifest simply by untying the knots that have been created in our lives, or by giving us an intuition on how to solve them. Or He can manifest by giving us the strength and calm to face a situation that cannot be changed. and that we need in order to grow. Truly speaking, to invoke Krishna means to invoke our higher self, who always guides us from within. Krishna is also called the 𝗟𝗘𝗟𝗘𝗕𝗥𝗔𝗧𝗜𝗢, or the stealer of hearts. This because as a child, mischievous as he was, he always sneaked into the houses of the gopis, the cowherds of Brindavan. His great devotees, he stole their butter and then ran away. The butter that Krishna stole actually symbolizes the heart softened by devotion. Let us now sing to Krishna the 𝗟𝗘𝗟𝗘𝗕𝗥𝗔𝗧𝗜𝗢 and ask him to steal our heart too. As we sing, let us feel the pure, simple and spontaneous joy that comes from a heart that belongs to him alone. I invite you to stand up and please clap your hands and repeat after me.
Gopal, Gopal, Govardhanadhara Gopal.
Gopal, 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 Govardhanadhara Gopal.
Gopal, 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 Govardhanadhara Gopal.
Gopal, 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 Govardhanadhara Gopal.
Chora Yashoda Kebal, Navanita Chora Gopal.
𝗟𝗘𝗟𝗪 Yashoda Kebal, Navanita Chora Gopal.
𝗟𝗃𝗟𝗪 Yashoda Kebal, Navanita Chora Gopal.
𝗟𝗃𝗟𝗪 Yashoda Kebal, Navanita Chora Gopal.
Gopal, 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 Govardhanadhara Gopal.
Gopal, 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 Govardhanadhara Gopal.
Gopal, 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 Govardhanadhara Gopal.
Gopal, 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 Govardhanadhara Gopal.
𝗟𝗃𝗟𝗪 Yashoda Kebal, Navanita Chora Gopal.
𝗟𝗃𝗟𝗪 Yashoda Kebal, Navanita Chora Gopal.
Gopal, 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 Govardhanadhara Gopal.
Gopal, 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 Govardhanadhara Gopal.
Gopal, 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 Govardhanadhara Gopal.
Gopal,
Chora Yashoda Keban Navanita Chora Gopal
Chora Yashoda Keban Navanita Chora Gopal
Chitta Chora Yashoda Keban Navanita Chora Gopal
Chitta Chora Yashoda Keban Navanita Chora Gopal
Gopal Gopal Gopal Gopal Danadara Gopal
Gopal Gopal Gopal Gopal Danadara Gopal
Gopal Gopal Gopal Gopal Gopal Danadara Gopal
Gopal Gopal Gopal Gopal Gopal Danadara Gopal
Chitta Chora Yashoda Kebal Chora Gopal
Chitta Chora Yashoda Keban Navanita Chora Gopal
Chitta Chora Yashoda Kebal Navanita Chora Gopal
Chitta Chora Yashoda Keban Navanita Chora Gopal
Gopal Gopal Gopal Gopal Danadara Gopal
Gopal Gopal Gopal Danadara Gopal
Gopal Gopal Gopal Gopal Gopal Danadara Gopal
Gopal Gopal Gopal Gopal Danadara Gopal
Bravi!
Un ladro di cuori, perché conquista il nostro cuore in un modo dolcissimo, e questa storia che ora vi racconto è una storia bellissima che fa vedere come veramente Krishna è il devoto dei devoti ed è al servizio dei devoti, perché non può fare a meno di aiutarli e di elevare la loro coscienza. Il suo amore espande il nostro cuore, ci fa sentire grati e ci eleva nel suo amore. Ed è la storia di Krishna e Sudama. Sudama era nato in una famiglia povera di Brahmini e ebbe la sua formazione con un precettore
And
che era
he
lo
had a
stesso.
teacher who was the same teacher that Krishna had. Krishna was a king, he was a prince, but they had the same teacher. And they became close friends. That they had a lot of adventures together, they were spending time together. When Krishna became a king, he lost his friend, he became the king of Dwarka, and Sudama was still poor, but he was so happy. He was in his village, he had children, and he was so happy to live a simple life. His life was fully dedicated to God, but he was very poor, and his wife, who was worrying about their children said, Sudama, beloved, you have such a dear friend who is a king. He's so rich, so please go to him and ask for help. But Sudama didn't want to ask for help because he had Krishna in his heart as a dear friend, but he was also aware that Krishna was the Lord. So, in his heart he thought, if he's God, he's the Lord, there is no need for me to go there and ask him for something because he knows everything. He's the Lord. But his wife was insisting because they were so poor. So one day, the wife said, you have to go. He's your friend. Please go. And Sudama accepted. And he also was happy to see again his dear friend. But he also said, beloved wife, I cannot go to the king with the empty hands. What can I bring to the king, to this beloved friend? But they had nothing. So the wife asked all the neighbors, asking, do you have any rice? I need to prepare a very precious gift. And so she received some rice flakes, and then he put it on the pan. It was just few bunches of rice, but then he put this little quantity of rice in a little bag. It was very well packed, and he also added some herbs, all the best that she could make. And so Sudama goes to Krishna with this beautiful gift. The journey was very long, and while he was reaching Dwaraka, he was so excited, thinking of the memories that they had together and all things that they shared. When he reaches Dwaraka, he sees this huge, magnificent palace, and then he sees his poor gift and his clothes. Oh, I'm so miserable. Nobody will ever allow me to enter into this palace. It will be impossible to meet Krishna. Nobody will tell him that I'm here, but my dear, I want to meet, I want to see my dear friends. Our heart was full of love and desire to see Krishna. Then he reaches the gate of the palace, and the gates are opened, and there are no guardians. His heart is beating so strong, and he just runs to the door of the palace, and he enters the palace until he reaches the main hall, and he sees Krishna. Oh, his heart is so happy, and he is talking to Rukmini, the queen, and Krishna sees Sudama, and in a moment he just goes to him and hugs him with so much love. Sudama, you came. There was so much joy, and Krishna allows him to sit on the couch, and also Rukmini sits with them, and the most delicious food is offered to Sudama, and Krishna asks for a bowl, and he washes the feet of Sudama. This is something so special, which is usually this ritual is usually offered to the guru. So it was so strange to see the king having such a weird friend. But Krishna's love was so huge, and Sudama was so touched to receive this high consideration, and their friendship was still so deep. And then they start to talk about the time they had together and the adventures they had together. And then he saw a glimpse into Krishna's eyes, and Krishna asked, "Did you bring something for me?" And Sudama forgot about that very poor gift, and he felt so bad. So he doesn't answer, he doesn't reply. But Krishna takes the little bag which was hidden behind Sudama, and he opens. "Oh, but this food is wonderful. Oh, thank you so much, Sudama. I love rice. I love the rice prepared in this way. I love this." And he eats a little bit of it, and he enjoys so much about this food, and he's going to have a little bit more when Rukmini stops him. Says, "No, Rukmini, she's an incarnation of Lakshmi, the goddess of prosperity." So he wants Krishna to understand that this rice was so little, and through these, only eating just a very little of this rice, he would have received so much wealth and richness. But if Krishna had more of that rice, he would have received maybe too much. So Krishna smiles and stops and said, "Dear friend, I love you so much." Sudama was in bliss, and he totally forgot about the reason why he was there. Then he sleeps there into the palace, and the morning after he goes back home. And maybe the journey was long. At a certain point, he remembers, "Oh my God, what I forgot asking Krishna about the reason, about reason why she sent me to Krishna. But I was so happy I forgot, but it is not important. The Lord will take care of us. It is not important." So when he arrives back home, when he thinks to be a ride, but he says, where is my village? I don't remember this era, because this is a village, but it is a wonderful village. There are beautiful houses, so different from the village where he came from. So he said, maybe this is the wrong place, but no, this is the right place. Then he sees his wife, who was dressed with clothes so rich, and then he understands. Krishna gave wealth and abundance to the whole village, and he feels the heart of Krishna in his heart, and his love for Krishna grows and grows. And so he knows that he is in the heart of his beloved and to be one with him. He who resides in our heart knows exactly what we need. He knows when, how, why, and if to bestow it upon us for our highest good. In this story, we have seen how a small offering made to the divine with love comes back to us multiplied 1,000 times. A small crumb of food offered to Krishna by Draupadi had fed the 1,000 disciples of Durvasa. And now a small handful of rice flakes had bestowed upon Sudama and his whole family great prosperity. It is not what we offer that matters, but how we offer it. The divine wants nothing from us but our love, that pure and sacred love that he has placed in our hearts since we arrived on this earth, and which is our most precious asset. Now, let us listen to the story of someone who offered this precious belonging to Krishna. Let us listen to the story of 𝗞𝗥𝗩𝗃, the only descendant of the Pandavas. Like Sudama, he also asked nothing of Krishna, yet Krishna saved him, albeit in two completely different ways. Let's go back to the ancient times in India, in a palace where a prince born, and this prince, from the very beginning, has a very strange behavior. He always looks around like if he's looking for something or someone. And when someone takes him on his lap, he stares at the face of the people like if he's looking for someone or something. The little baby was practicing pariksha, the search. And actually, in the palace, everybody was talking about this strange behavior. That's why he was named 𝗞𝗥𝗩𝗃, he who is searching. But then came the moment of the ceremony to receive his sacred name, and the elder of the Pandavas asked to the sages and the astrologers to ask for the auspicious moment for the ceremony, and a date, a time was given. So all the invitations were sent to the saints, sages, important people, noble people to be part of this great ceremony, and Arjuna himself invited Krishna. The day arrived and the palace was everything was so elegant, everybody was singing, enjoying the moment to welcome the name of the prince. And the prince was brought into the hall on a golden tray. Everybody was chanting to him, and when the tray was put at the feet of the priest, the little baby started to look around, searching for something, and up to the moment he was drawn by Krishna. And he was walking on all four, and he went into his direction, and he called him, "Please, pull me up." And Krishna took him and put it on his lap. And in that very moment, a silent dialogue started. Krishna was looking at the baby, and the baby was staring at Krishna so intensely. He was lost into his eyes. He was not looking right, left. He see nothing else than the wonderful face of Krishna. And Krishna was looking at Arjuna saying, "You told me about this strange behavior, but it's true, you were right. I look at him, but he is really staring at me." So he was trying to distract the baby, and he did a little bell. But the baby was focused only in the eyes of Krishna. Then he tried to distract the baby, but he was not, his attention was not distracted. And then Krishna had himself, but again the baby was there staring at him. This little prince had found what he was looking for. Actually, there is a story behind, because when the baby was still in the womb of his mother during a great battle, the enemy was going to kill him with an arrow. So the mother and the baby were at risk to die, but Krishna was there and he enfolded them in light, and they were protected, so the arrow didn't reach them. And so the baby, even before his birth, he felt Krishna's presence, his light, his grace, and so the only thing he was searching for, it was Krishna. And this is what happens to us. We arrive on the earth, and our soul is looking, is searching for something, but we don't know what to search. And we have to go through so many experiences. We have to go through many experiences, going right, left, but at the end we understand that nothing is satisfying us. So it comes the moment when maybe we find our guru, or maybe during a meditation we touch that moment of grace. But it comes the moment when God comes to us and He fills our heart and He answers our question, like it happened to the little 𝗟𝗟𝗩𝗘. But going back to him, to this little prince, he becomes a man, he becomes a king, a very dharmic king. He's very well known. One day he was exploring an area of his kingdom. He was tired and very thirsty. He sees an hermitage and he looks for water. And he enters shouting, I'm hungry, I'm thirsty. Please, I need water." And he sees a man sitting on the ground. "Please, I need water. But that man was a saint and he was meditating. He was in samadhi. So he couldn't hear any word around him. And the king, he becomes very angry. And again he shouts, I need water, give me water. And the saint doesn't reply. So the king sees a died snake. He takes the snake and he put the snake around his neck as a revenge, and then he goes away. There were some young guys who saw this scene and go to the son of the saint and tell them what the king did. Your father were in samadhi, and the king just behaved so bad with the saint. So this young boy, in anger, through his power, utters a curse to the king. In 7 days, this king will be bitten by a snake and he will die. Some hours later, the saint goes back into his body and the son tells him what happened and why he had this snake around his neck. But the saint tells him, "Beloved son, what did you do? Our king was tired, thirsty.
Ha fatto questo in un gesto inconsulto, ma noi
He was not centered in that moment, and instead of forgiving him, what did we do to him? You cursed him,
e questa maledizione
and this curse
non può essere revocata.
cannot be reversed.
Quindi vai dal
So
principe
go to
e
him
almeno spiega
and tell him, explain to him what is going to happen.
questo figlio
So this boy
prende la strada per andare al
goes
palazzo
to the
e
king,
pensa chissà che cosa
thinking,
mi farà.
oh, he will punish me, I cursed him.
E quando arriva
When
davanti
he
al principe,
is in front
gli spiega
of the king, he explains
quello che ha fatto.
what he
E il
did,
re lo ascolta.
and the king just listened to him, smiling.
E lui dice, ma
And he says, but
non dice niente, come
why he's not angry? Why doesn't he punish me?
Bracci lo guarda,
Plakshit looks at him with love, saying, okay,
ho 7
I have 7 days
per trovarti,
to find God.
7
7
giorni,
days.
ti ringrazio,
Thank you.
li userò bene.
I will use these 7 days in the best way.
A un santo
And so he
che abitava vicino al
He
palazzo,
asked a saint,
posso fare?
what can I do in 7 days
Stare sempre con te.
to always stay with God? And he replies,
Trova chi racconta le storie di Krishna.
look for someone who
7 giorni.
tells Krishna's stories and spend these 7 days listening to Krishna's stories. So he goes to a sage who tells all the stories. And this is the way the Srimad Bhagavatam burns Krishna's stories.
E in questi 7 giorni
In these 7 days,
sono in estasi,
they are in bliss,
gioia di combattere.
tears of joy.
7 giorni ai piedi
7 days at the feet of Krishna, 7 days
e quando
at God's
arriva il
feet.
serpente,
So when the snake arrives on the 7th day,
mangiando verso questo grande re, lui lo accoglie.
he welcomes the snake,
Sono pronto,
saying, I am ready.
non ho più alcun desiderio.
I have no more worldly desire. I am ready. And the snake bites him
Mormora,
and he whispers, Krishna, Krishna, Krishna.
e lascia il corpo.
And he leaves the body,
Il suo moksha,
his moksha, his freedom.
finalmente,
Finally,
ha trovato il suo Signore.
he finds his Lord and he's one with him. Parikshit could have been desperate to know that he had only a week to live, but his attitude was very different. He had the ability to turn into a blessing even what is considered to be a great disaster, namely dying bitten by a snake. The Srimad Bhagavatam was gifted to the world thanks to the combination of a curse and the devotion of Parikshit. The Bhagavad Gita was gifted to the world thanks to the combination of a war, Arjuna's despair and devotion. In the same way, devotion gives us the ability to transform even the greatest difficulties into opportunities of growth. It enables us to see the hand of the divine in everything and thus to know how to accept with gratitude whatever manifests itself in our life. Jumping into the sea can be a traumatic experience for those who cannot swim, while it is fun for those who have learned this art. In the same way, devotion makes it possible for us to cross the ocean of life with joy and lightness. Krishna, in this situation, didn't save Parikshit's life, as he had done when he was in the womb, but he gave him another kind of salvation, the one that Parikshit hearts longed for. namely salvation from samsara and eternal life in him. He made Parikshit one with himself, pure all-pervading consciousness. Let us now chant the name of Krishna Chaitanya, the pure consciousness that pervades everything. Let us chant the name of Radha, who represents the creation permeated by his consciousness. And let us always remember that whenever we see Radha, the creation, with her there is always Krishna Chaitanya, the immanent spirit that animates her, but is not visible to the physical eye. Radha Govinda are one and are inseparable.
Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Hare Krishna Hare Rama Shri Radhe Govinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Hare Krishna Hare Rama Shri Radhe Govinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Hare Krishna Hare Rama Shri Radhe Govinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Hare Krishna Hare Rama Shri Radhe Govinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Hare Krishna Hare Rama Shri Radhe Govinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Hare Krishna Hare Rama Shri Radhe Govinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Hare Krishna Hare Rama Shri Radhe Govinda Shri Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Hare Krishna Hare Rama Shri Radhe Govinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Hare Krishna Hare Rama Shri Radhe Govinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Hare Krishna Hare Rama Shri Radhe Govinda Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Hare Krishna Hare Rama Shri Radhe Govinda Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Hare Krishna Hare Rama Shri Radhe Govinda Hare Krishna Hare Rama Shri Radhe Govinda Hare Krishna Hare Rama Shri Radhe
Portiamo le mani a cuore un attimino e preghiamo interiormente a questo grande principio di Krishna di cui Cristina ha parlato all'inizio. Andiamo oltre la forma. Se noi potessimo solo guardare oltre le forme di questo mondo, i cambiamenti, i vari colori,
If we could see the colors and everything which is behind, our suffering would end because we are merged in the presence of God. Krishna or God or Christ is the same. Christ consciousness, Krishna consciousness, Buddha consciousness is always the same, which surrounds us and fills us. Now let's open up to this presence, and I'm going to tell you a story about Krishna. When you open up to him, he becomes your friend and he plays with you like the devotee loves God, like Arjuna loved Krishna, and God plays with the devotee. And one day Krishna tells Arjuna, let's go together and play together, let's do a shape shifting, and nobody will understand that it's us. So they disguised themselves as beggars, and they went to the palace, and he go to the palace of a king of a kingdom to ask him for some food. There were in disguise like beggars, like sadhu, which is a very high dharma. In India it is said that when a sadhu, when a monk asks for alms, it's a big dharma to give them food because it will be your blessing. So they knock at the door of the king and ask for food, saying, "We are hungry." And the king himself, very angry, tell them, "You are nothing for the society. People like you are totally useless. Go away," and tell to the servants, throw them out of the palace. And so Krishna and Arjuna were on the street, and Arjuna was in shock and said, "Krishna, how will you act? What are you going to do against this king?" And Krishna smiles and says, "That king, I will make him even more rich. I will double his wealth." Why? And Krishna doesn't reply. Then they see it's dark now, they are tired, and they see a light a little bit far away, and they're even hungry. And they reach this place. The light came from a little hut inhabited by a very poor peasant. In India, it is also said that the unexpected guest is God. So this poor peasant sees these sadhus and consider them like God. So he gives them his bed, the milk of his cow. The only belonging he had was a cow, which is the most precious thing in India. He loved this cow with all his heart. It was a kind of deity, this cow. He gave her flowers and cuddled her. So the little milk that he had, he gave to these two sadhus. The morning after, again, he gave the milk with all the love that he had. And Arjuna, then they leave, they walk away from this place. So Arjuna tells Krishna, "Oh, beloved Krishna, Lord of the universe, this devotee will receive your blessings, huge blessings. What shall you do for him? What are you going to give to him?" And Krishna replies, smiling, "I will kill the cow." Oh my God, Arjuna is in shock. He was so good with us. His only belonging is the cow. He's so poor, and he's going to suffer, to be desperate. And Krishna replies, "I love them both. I love the king, but the king, to understand that I am the only thing that he has to search. So to receive his heart, he needs to have a lot of wealth, because he has to get tired of it. So to accelerate the search, I will give more wealth." But the poor peasant, he is such a strong devotee since ever, but he has one strong attachment, his cow. So yes, he will suffer, but after suffering for the cow, he will be free. And he will be one with me. And this is what happened. He, through the experience of losing the only thing he was attached, so through the experience of this trauma and tragedy, this poor peasant stood up And he spoke to God, saying, I have nothing left. I am yours. And he freed himself. And this is the story of God. If you could see through, through the form, if you could see that beyond everything there is God. His presence creates the shape, the colors, everything. So whenever something good happens to you, these are blessings of God. He gives you prosperity, or He gives you an ice cream. He's giving you some fun, but then He will kill your attachment. He will put you in despair, and you will think it's a tragedy. But again, behind this, there is nothing else than God's love. God's love. If you could see beyond the tragedies that you live, if you lose someone, I don't know what, maybe your mother is mistreating you or someone is cheating you, it seems terrible. But behind there is always Krishna smile or Christ smile, Krishna Tattva saying, I love you and this is why I give you this. So that at the end you stand up, look at God, and you know that everything that happened to you was pure love of God for you, so that when you will be ready, like that peasant, you will give everything to Him. Oh Krishna, I sorrowed by the lonely Yamuna river, where thy flute notes thrill the air and led lost calves to their divine home. O lotus of love, musing on the sad absence of thy delusion, dispelling eyes, I saw thine invisible spirit take form, frozen by my devotion's frost. Thy divine body of sky blue light walked with feet of eternity on the banks of my mind, planting there the lasting footprints of divine realization. I am one of those lost calves which follow thy flower footprints on the shores of time, listening to the melody of thy flute of wisdom. I now follow the middle path of calm activity, by which thou hast led many through the portals of their dark past into the eternal light. Since all souls belong to thy fold, whether we move forward, are sidetracked, or are hemmed in unmoving in the fogs of disbelief. O divine Christ, lead us back to thy enfolding shed of everlasting freedom. O Krishna, thou reignest supreme on the heart throne of all those who know thy love. O Krishna, thou reignest supreme on the heart throne of all those who know thy love. This was a poem from Master. So, as Master said that we are part of his part. So let's end this evening with a chant to Krishna like Gopala, Govinda. Ka means cow. So while chanting, please let's focus on this aspect like Krishna, the shepherd of souls. That is us. And we see these images on the screen, and let's focus on this aspect of love that Krishna has for us. And for those who want to, there will be an offering of flowers. You can take the flowers near the door of the temple, and you can offer them to Krishna. And while you do your offer, consider that this flower is our heart, our love. So be aware that we are offering this flower to Krishna. We are offering our highest self. And then you can receive the prasad that Krishna gives us.
Govinda Hare Gopala, Govinda Hare Hare, Govinda Hare Gopala, Govinda Hare Hare, Gopala, Gopala, Govinda Hare Hare, Gopala, Govinda Hare Hare Hare, Govinda Hare Gopala, Govinda Hare Hare, Govinda Hare Gopala, Govinda Hare Hare, Gopala, Gopala, Govinda Hare Hare, Gopala, Gopala, Govinda Hare Hare Hare, Govinda Hare Gopala, Govinda Hare Hare, Govinda Hare Gopala, Govinda Hare Hare, Gopala, Gopala, Govinda Hare Hare, Gopala, Gopala, Govinda Hare Hare Hare, Govinda Hare Hare Gopala Gopala Govinda Hare Hare Gopala Gopala Govinda Hare 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 Govinda Hare Gopala Govinda Hare Gopala Gopala Govinda Hare Hare Gopala Gopala Govinda Hare 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 Govinda Hare Gopala Govinda Hare Hare Govinda Gopala, Gopala, Govinda Hare Hare. Gopala, Gopala, Govinda Hare Hare Hare. Govinda Hare Gopala, Govinda Hare Hare. Gopala, Gopala, Govinda Hare Hare. Gopala, Gopala, Govinda Hare Hare Hare. Govinda Hare Gopala, Govinda Hare Hare. Gopala, Gopala, Govinda Hare Hare. Gopala, Gopala, Govinda Hare Hare Hare. Govinda Hare Gopala, Govinda Hare Gopala, Govinda Hare Hare. Gopala, Gopala, Govinda Hare Hare. Gopala, Gopala, Govinda Hare Hare Hare. Govinda Hare Gopala, Govinda Hare Hare. Govinda Hare Gopala, Govinda Hare Hare. Gopala, Gopala, Govinda Hare Hare. Gopala, Gopala, Govinda Hare Hare Hare. Govinda Hare Gopala, Govinda Hare Hare. Govinda Hare Gopala, Govinda Hare Hare. Gopala, Gopala, Govinda Hare Hare. Gopala, Gopala, Govinda Hare Hare Hare.
Govinda Hare Hare, Govinda Hare Gopala, Govinda Hare Hare. Gopala, Gopala, Govinda Hare Hare. Gopala, Govinda Hare Hare, Govinda Hare Gopala, Govinda Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare.
la profonda saggezza di Krishna, del Krishna Tattva, il principio divino che Krishna rappresenta, guida le nostre vite in modo perfetto. Questa sera possiamo uscire da questo Tempio della Luce con questa convinzione, che Lui è sempre con noi e sempre si prende cura di noi, a volte in modi buffi, a volte in modi imprevedibili, come abbiamo visto, le storie che vi sono state raccontate, ma sempre si prende cura di noi. E quindi la nostra preghiera per tutti voi e per tutti noi è che questa certezza non vacilli mai. Buonanotte a tutti.